Well, that's my go-to one that I look at, that I read, yeah. Anyway, so welcome everyone to the first committee of the whole of the year. Hope everyone had a nice holidays, had some rest, and we will roll right into it. It is moved by Councillor Karen, second by Councillor Hunter. Be it resolved, the committee of the whole agenda of January 20th, 2026 be approved as amended. And we are removing the button presentation as we have already taken the photograph, and we'll hear a bit more about it at the end of the meeting. So can we please vote on the adoption of the agenda? And it carries, thank you. That's so I will also just start by saying we are, we're not down a clerk, but our deputy clerk is not here. So we are going to take things nice and slow so the clerk can assist me along the way and do our IT stuff. So we now are going to have the land acknowledgement statement. Disclosure of pecuniary interest. Councillor Hunter.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Through you, yes, I would like to declare on Section I, number 6, signed bylaw exemption, and Section J, number 3.
Okay, thank you. And it looks like we have a bit of technical difficulty here as well. So we'll just be a minute. Now we're going to go to the land acknowledgement statement. Councillor Morphy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We'd like to begin today's meeting by acknowledging the First Peoples, who, for thousands of years before us, were and are still the keepers and caretakers of this land, where we now live and work, and in particular, the Chippewas of Rama, Wata Mohawk First Nations, and the Moon River Métis. We are dedicated to honoring Indigenous history and culture and committed to moving forward in the spirit of reconciliation and respect with all First Nation, Métis, and Inuit people. We recognize all the generations of Indigenous people and their historic connection to this place, and we are grateful for the opportunity to gather here at this time.
Okay, thank you. And so we will roll right into deputations. Scott Clark, would you like to come up to the podium? Okay, and I'll just, well, thank you for coming. Well, if I seem a little rattled, it's because I just drove up from Toronto and with like 8 minutes to spare. So forgive me for that and starting a few minutes late. But thanks for making it today.
Hopefully we can clear this up before the weather gets darker, that's all.
Okay, so you have 10 minutes for your deputation.
Yes. Can everybody hear me? Yeah. Okay. Okay, good afternoon, Mayor Lorenz and members of council. My name is Scott Clark, and my family and I own a home on at 130 Abbey Lane, and it's at the corner of Abbey and Winewood Road. I want to begin by stating clearly that I understand and support the need for municipal infrastructure improvements. The deputation is not about opposing that work, but rather it's about the duration of the improvements themselves. But the duration of the disruption, the lack of communication, and the disproportionate impacts. Thank you, Scott. This project has had on our home, our health, and our livelihood through our licensed short-term rentals. Since May of last year, our property has been directly adjacent to extensive drilling and blasting associated with the new stormwater infrastructure leading to Lake Muskoka. What we've experienced has gone well beyond reasonable inconvenience. Sorry, I should be motioning to whom about changing the slides. Excellent. When it goes to video, does it automatically play? It does. Not on this one?
No.
Okay, we'll figure that out when we get there. Okay, sorry, just getting set up here. Okay, so throughout the construction period, we received no drilling or blasting schedules, no advance notice of blasting days, no timelines indicating how long Abbey Lane or Winewood Road would be affected, and only occasional notices when access to our driveway was restricted or completely cut off. On multiple occasions, we were unable to access our own property without any advanced warning. This absence of basic communication meant we could not plan our daily lives, our time at home, or our guest bookings. At times, we were generally unsure whether we would be able to enter or leave our property. We were left reacting day by day without predictability or certainty. Due to the significant bedrock beneath Abbey and Winewood, the project has involved prolonged drilling and blasting. The resulting noise and vibrations have been extreme. On active construction days, it is often impossible to remain inside of our home for extended periods. The intensity of the drilling has directly affected productivity on days when we work from home and when academic work must be completed, including doctoral level studies. Normal activities such as working, studying, resting, or even holding a conversation are frequently disrupted or rendered impossible. On the most intense drilling days, the impact has caused significant distress and has required us to leave the home entirely in order to function. While videos do not fully capture the severity of the noise and vibration, I've included two for your consideration, which I will play now, and hopefully we can get this working. Is there volume? Can anybody hear it? Well, you would know if you could hear it, trust me. So, okay, without hearing it, basically you can see the amount of destruction that we have endured. And with the drilling itself, it's just, it impacts, like, I can't even explain it. It's all day long, and it vibrates both inside and outside. So even from the inside, again, this is the inside of the house, but you can't hear. But there's two different types of drilling noises, and it just burrows into your brain. So I guess we're skipping this part. That's our nice backyard, by the way. Okay, so we operate our home as a licensed short-term rental, and our peak revenue period is the summer season. Because construction occurred on weekdays, we were effectively limited to weekend rentals only. In August, we lost a full week-long bookings when guests with young children canceled due to safety and noise concerns. Over the summer months, repeated interruptions resulted in cancellations and a significant reduction in bookings. These losses were a direct result of the town's construction activity immediately adjacent to our home. Despite these impacts, we continue to pay a $750 annual short-term rental licensing fee. While the town's own project restricted our ability to operate, we were still required to pay the full licensing fees for a business that could not function normally through no fault of our own. This raises serious questions of fairness. Along two of our property lines, the root systems of several mature trees were cut to accommodate underground culvert installations. These trees are integral to Muskoka's natural character and environmental stability. Root disturbances place them at long-term risk, often leading to decline or failure years after construction is complete, not immediately. Front, side, and rear setbacks exist in zoning bylaws for a reason, to prevent predictable harm between properties. In this case, tree roots deserve the same consideration. Town road work should not ignore the critical root zones of trees on adjacent private property. Allowing root severance and then forcing homeowners to absorb the consequences is unjust and unsafe. The tree root systems stabilize soil, prevent erosion, and provide structural anchoring. The town's current approach contradicts its own rationale for setbacks and creates foreseeable environmental and safety risks. We are deeply concerned that trauma to the surrounding land has damaged our trees' root systems, potentially leading to a decline or death over time. Should removal become necessary, the cost of removing large mature trees typically ranges from anywhere from $1,000 to upwards of probably $3,000 or even more. not including stumps, grinding, or replacement plantings. These are substantial costs for damage that we did not cause, and that was not properly mitigated. Research of agricultural standards show that root damage can result in tree failure anywhere from 6 months to up to 5 years after the disturbance. Compounding this risk, our property faces due west, and the affected roots are predominantly on the west side, meaning any strong prevailing winds can further increase the risk of structural failure. So in closing, we respectfully request reimbursement of our short-term rental licensing fees during the affected construction period, a waiver of future licensing fees until the construction itself is completed, tree remediation and treatment for damaged root systems administered in the spring by a certified arborist of our choosing, and written confirmation that any trees impacted by the town's construction that decline, die, or require removal will be removed, remediated, and replaced at the expense of the town, including appropriate site restoration and replanting. These impacts we have experienced were foreseeable, prolonged, and disproportionate. We are simply asking for fairness, accountability, and reasonable mitigation. Thank you for your time and consideration. I'm happy to answer any questions or provide any additional information as required.
Okay, thank you. Council, are there any questions for the deputant? Councillor Morphy?
Thank you, Your Worship, through you. Sorry about all this. What do you see as fair and reasonable mitigation of what you guys have gone through? What are you looking for?
So again, we don't want to have to pay our licensing fees for our short-term rentals from last year as well as this coming year, for the fact that it's going to be starting once again in May, and it's apparently supposed to be done in June. There's so much bedrock that can't be guaranteed, so then we can't guarantee even the people that we have coming in for our rentals. So we'd like to also have tree remediation and treatment. So believe it or not, arborists can actually inject trees that are under duress. And I don't know what the medicine is, but it helps, whatever it does. It helps the actual trees themselves. And we have some very mature oaks and 1 or 2 pine trees that are, extremely tall and bone straight. The other thing is, if they do happen to die, the cost of removing them is extensive, and we would basically want that cost covered, as well as, again, arborists to come in and plant trees as a replacement. Otherwise, we're left with nothing. We'd have to take it down at our cost, and we're staring down at what looks like an avalanche of rock because of the what has transpired, what they've done.
Okay. Are there any other questions? So I'm going to suggest that if council wants more information, is this something, like how many projects do we deal with a year, construction projects that are adjacent to properties? Because I think that's something needs to be discussed and evaluated, because we have all of Bay Street who has been impacted by a construction project is going on for 3 years. So I think we have to look at the long-term cost, and as far as, is this something that is done in the, do infrastructure departments generally do assessments of trees after the fact? I would like to know that information before we instruct staff to proceed with this. So I would like to see some information come back if there's an appetite to consider this. So is that something that we can get? Does somebody want to request that? Yeah, it'll come back at another meeting. Okay, Councillor Morphy? And Councillor Varney, did you want to speak to it?
Are you doing it first? No? Oh, okay. Yes, I would like to see this looked into. I believe this couple have a legitimate reason to ask for having the rental fee passed or taken off for this year and next year. I do know that trees cost a lot of money to take down. I think they've had to go through a lot. I know you're saying that Bay Street, but Bay Street is not, the trees aren't being damaged on Bay Street, and I don't believe there's any rentals on Bay Street that are being in trouble because of construction. So I feel this couple has a legitimate reason to come and ask for what they're looking for. Thank you.
So is the direction from council to ask for some information back from staff? Okay, so motion by Councillor Morphy, second by Councillor Varney to request, so we would like to know, what does it look like? What does this look like? And is this something that we've done at other times? If this is a policy that is implied other places? I don't know, Director of Infrastructure, what, because this is your department, what is it that you would need from us to bring back some information?
I think it'd be fair to direct me to bring back a report on the construction approach we took, the communications we provided, and what standard protocol is for when we have any construction project in the community, and go from there.
Okay, Madam Clerk?
Standard protocols for what? No, just, no. Turn it off. Notification.
Noti-
Turn it off.
Yeah.
What? Standard protocols for what? What did you just say?
Construction practices.
That administration be directed to report back on the construction approach, communications and standard practice, protocols for construction practices.
Okay.
And
So-
who's the seconder? Counselor, okay.
Okay, so I'm going to put the motion on the screen when the clerk is finished, and then I see that you'd like to speak to it. We'll put the motion on first? Okay, great. Okay, so the motion is moved by Councillor Morphy, second by Councillor Varney. Be it resolved, the deputation from Scott Clark and Bobby Clark, I'm going to say, because you're here, I didn't want to ignore you. Scott Clark, RE Abbey Lane Drainage and Road Construction from January 20th, 2026 be received, and that administration be directed to report back on construction approach, communications, and standard protocols for construction practices. Director Stacey, that fits your direction? Great. Okay, so Councillor Strength.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Perhaps if we could just ask with that report, if we could get the anticipated plan going forward or schedule for May and June too, as well. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else have any questions? All right, so we have a motion on the table.
We do, but you don't get to vote yet. Because I'm all alone, so.
Yes, no, so we're taking slow, yes, exactly.
It can be part of the deputation, it's fine.
It's, I believe the director could probably get together with the other director and address it. Sure. Great. Okay, and please vote.
It's carried.
And that's carried, thank you. Thanks for coming. We're having great difficulties with this technology today. So thanks for coming, and we will be sure to let you know when that information is coming back to council. Okay? Great. Thanks for coming. Drive safely.
Just need 1 minute.
Okay, so we're just going to take one more minute before we go to the next deputation. All right, next on my list is Greg Poole for Gravenhurst Against Poverty, coldest night of year fee exemption. Come on up. Yep.
Well, while I'm speaking to you, Beth is going to hand out these lovely coldest night of the year buttons to you as well. Beth will speak separately about some of the things that GAP does and the importance of what we do and the importance of this upcoming fundraising event, Coldest Night of the Year, which I believe most of you are familiar with. So there's 3 items that I wanted to talk about today quickly. One, there's an 8x6 sign that we've typically had beside now the Surf and Turf Restaurant, formerly Rombo's. And we need still 100% permission to put that up. And also, we're also seeking a refund on our submission of a request to do so. I think it was $200. For those of you who aren't aware of it, sorry I didn't bring a presentation, but that's a picture of Mark Claremont standing beside the sign last year. Do I have those right side up? Yes, I do. Number 2 is we've booked, as usual, the Lions Pavilion, which is our start and finish line for the event, and the sign-up for the initiation of the event, which essentially is a walk through town, either a 2-kilometer or 5-kilometer route. And we would like to also get a refund on the fee to use that pavilion. Being a charity, saving $200, $300 and things like that means literally 100 bags of milk or 80 loaves of bread, things like that for us. So it's really important that we can gain access to these resources without having to pay the typical fees that the town requires to get. And then there was a third one where we were asked if we were going to play music at the pavilion during sign-up, and the answer was yes. And with that, we were told that we were to pay $100 for the right to play music there. And I believe the explanation was it's an insurance coverage for any possible actions being brought against the town for copyright infringement for playing people's music. And I just want to clarify that the music that we are playing there is from a sponsor of ours, Country 102, who, by the way, provide over $4,000 worth of free advertising in exchange for being the official media sponsor. And they are playing music directly from their radio station. So they are, by rights, paying already for that music. So there's no risk whatsoever of anyone coming and accusing us of playing their music to a large crowd of people without paying them some kind of artist's fee. So those are the 3 items that I was here to talk about today. Is there any questions?
Okay, so, well, I was just going to add something, because I did meet with Beth and a couple of members, and Deputy Mayor Randy Jorgensen was there as well on Friday. And you've been here before for signs, right? We know that. And I've talked with the clerk, and I have talked with, who else did I talk? Oh, manager of bylaw. And when we did the signs last year, we thought we'd covered the signs. So what we're going to do is I'm going to work with them, and we are going to revisit, and we are going to amend the bylaw. So again, you don't have to come, I mean, because that was just an oversight from last year. So we had thought the sign thing was done, because we even said it last year. So this was just something that wasn't included in that exemption under the things we passed before. So I can assure you that staff were just following the bylaw, and we need an amendment to that bylaw, and we are going to work on it, and we're going to have it, I'm going to have a notice of motion next month to bring it forward, so we don't have to go through this again next year. So just wanted to clarify that before I opened it up for questions. Because that's the only way staff cannot follow the bylaw is if there's amendment to the bylaw. So with that, I will ask council, are there any questions for the deputant? Okay, because there is a motion later on the agenda, so if you want to speak to the motion or the proposal. Yeah, okay, to the deputation. Any questions? Okay, you're off the hook.
Today, this is, just happens to be
We're
an
not-
official toque
Oh,
this
yeah,
year.
yeah, we're not the, it's fine. No,
Okay.
you're fine. It's not the dinner table. Oh, CEO Lucas?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Not necessarily a question, but in the documentation later in the agenda, there isn't reference to what's referred to as the in tandem fee, which isn't necessarily an insurance piece. It's something that the town has to pay an organization, which may or may not be required based on the type of music that's played. But it's not a fee that the town takes as part of the process. It's a fee that the town has to pay, which is collected by whoever runs the event. So I just wanted to clarify what that is, and I'm sure Ms. Patterson could explain that way better than me, but I just wanted to cover that base.
I think what you're saying is it's not lost revenue to the town, it's a fee that we'd have to pay. Okay, so those are two different, but radio is fine. That's great. So one problem solved, two problems solved.
Before, I didn't know it as fact, so thank you for clarifying that.
Okay.
And,
Perfect.
all righty?
Great, great.
Okay,
2 out
thank
of
you very
3
much.
checked off, so stay tuned. Great, and now we'll welcome up Beth. Okay, welcome. And I didn't notice, I mean, not that, I didn't see, yep.
Just hold on.
Okay, so we're gonna, like I said, because we don't have Jonathan doing the IT normally, Kayla's doing it all, so just give us one quick second, thank you. So we get to introduce now. Welcome, Beth, from Gravenhurst Against Poverty. You've got 10 minutes.
Thank
Go
you
ahead.
very much, Mayor Lorenz, and thank you, councillors, for having me here. I have a slideshow. Do you have the, yep, I have the clicker. Do I? Oh, there we go, there we go. So I want to start off by telling you a little bit about, give you a bit of an update on what we're doing at GAP, so everybody knows exactly where we are. Oh, can we move that picture? No? Okay. This is last year's data. We had 850 neighbors, 265 of those were children, and we were serving 350 households. We've noticed that since in the last 4 weeks that our numbers have gone up on our Thursday, which is our big meal delivery day. We've gone up from 720 to 750 people relying on us every week for that. The food hampers that we put out last year were 17,500 food hampers, and the meals provided that I can't see. Can you see what the number is on the meals provided? Who can see it? Pardon me? 28,000 meals were provided. I'm just going to try and whip through these quickly. So filling the hampers, we rely on people who donate food. So the vehicle on the left was a woman who went to Costco and picked up all of those groceries and just dropped them off at GAP. We do food rescue from grocery stores, restaurants, and bakeries. And we get frozen foods from the Sharing Place in Orillia every other week. They give us 650 meals. And on the alternate weeks, we get food from the Red Cross. And then times when we don't have food, we make our own food. Last year, we received over $360,000 in food donations. But we also have been spending about $350,000 on purchasing food. So our weekly food purchases have increased by 400% in the last 5 years. And this year we started providing healthy snack bags. So they not only get the food hamper and the meals, but every home that has a child, every child receives an extra bag that contains fresh food like fruits, yogurts, granola, things like that they can take for snacks at school. Whoops, went too far. 1,900 rides were taken on our taxi vouchers last year, so that's free transportation around town, and we're now working with the district to try and figure out the direct response transit, how we can use those, maybe get a bit of a cut on those so people can use them instead of just the taxi program. We give out over 2,000 gift cards every year. We usually give them out about 3 times a year, and every household gets them depending upon the number of people in the house. We still run our young adult program. It doesn't cost us a lot of money because one of our volunteers donates a lot of food to that program. But we have about 24 kids registered who come right now. It's every other Friday from 6 to 8, but we're hoping to move it to every Friday from 6 to 8. We have 270 active volunteers that contribute 20,000 hours per year to achieving our mission. And if you were to pay minimum wage to those 270 volunteers for 20,000 hours, it would be about 10.5 full-time employees. What makes all of this possible? Our supporters and our donors. So the picture that you see there is the Knit and Natter Club from the Alexander Seniors Place. They knit and nattered while they were knitting, I suppose. They knit a bunch of things and then sold them and raised $260 to give to GAP. So we have a lot of organizations in town, or a lot of groups in town, that do support us through some type of fundraiser. We also have a few big donors. Certainly the Muskoka Community Foundation provides us with a number of big donors. Without that kind of support, we wouldn't survive. The biggest thing that brings us in money that I'm here to talk about is the coldest night of the year. So we, 2 years ago and 3 years ago, we raised $177,000 each of those years. Last year, we only raised $135,000. The coldest night of the year makes up a good chunk of our budget, and what I would love to see, I know that we've got a lot of support from people in this room, and that's fantastic. A lot of you are big donors, and a lot of you walk in coldest night of the year. I appreciate that totally. What I would love to see is some kind of team that identifies you as being part of the town of Gravenhurst. I know that the people who are employed by the town, this is their job. But the people sitting in council were hired by the people of the town to represent us. And I recognize that you walk in the walk, but I would like to see something that identifies so people can say, hey, that's our town out there doing that too. In fact, we've got the sign here that Greg is going to have you take a picture in front of, and it would be fantastic if you would put that on your social media and say, come and walk with us, support Gravenhurst Against Poverty. Now, I know that there are a number of charities in town, and you can't support all of them. I totally get that, but we provide food to almost 10% of the population of the town of Gravenhurst, so I think that deserves a little bit of extra consideration. I also know that there's already a team of counselors going to walk in it. I can't remember what your team name is, but if at all possible, if you can somehow link that to the town and promote it as a town thing, we would love you forever and ever. That's all I have to say about that.
I thought you loved us forever and ever already.
No, not true.
Oh, well, thanks for coming, Beth. And again, I thanks for recognizing that, I don't think there's been a year where I haven't participated and most of my colleagues haven't participated in some fashion or another. I think everyone around this table has has donated in the past. And, you know, you're right to say that it is sometimes a little tricky to, you know, be seen to be biased in one way or another and favor one, because we do get around. So the support is here. We are here for you 100%. I think we did do a picture last year. I think it was one of my most liked posts. I don't have very many followers, but that one got a lot of traction. So we appreciate it, and we will sort of shout out the message as we talked about on Friday. So you can count on seeing some posts from the town. And as far as the counselors, I didn't receive an invitation to participate on a team, so I don't know what happened there, but I
don't imagine they denied you a team.
I will be walking as I always do. So thanks for coming. Is there any questions? I'm going to go over to Councillor Johnston.
Thank you, Your Worship, through you. Just a couple of very brief comments, and then I have a question for Beth. My comment, first of all, Beth, is I want to thank GAP for all that you do in this community, you and your team. I have spoken at district, I've spoken at this council. The food source in Muskoka is not very stable. That is, not all people have the same access to food. There's a food distribution program, or a food distribution problem, excuse me. And a number of us are working on things to try and change that. For example, I'm implementing a community fridge program, and there's a Good to Go GAP program that's going to be introduced sometime this month to redistribute food. So I wanted to mention that. It's a problem. Too many people don't have enough, as you pointed out. And this is across Muskoka, so it's not a particular problem to Gravenhurst, but so thank you for all that you do. You mentioned the coldest night of the year walk. I've participated every year that I've been on council, and I'm walking again. I'm walking with a team, and very pleased to be doing that. My question, Beth, to you is, do you have any indication as to any advanced registrations for coldest night of the year? Because I know 2 years ago, there were a lot of people, as you pointed out, and I was the single most individual raising money. I raised over $9,000 in the walk. But last year, my walk was pathetic. I walked, but I didn't raise much money. And I know, as you pointed out, Beth, that the numbers were down. So I just wondered, do you have any indication as to whether people are going to be registering? And is there anything that the town or council, Beth, could do to get people engaged with the walk and get out there and do that? Because again, other than shelter, food is the other most basic human need we have. And it's not secure access to everybody in Muskoka. So that's my question. And thank you, Beth, for you and your team for all you do. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Peter. Yeah, Greg just handed me the up-to-date statistics. So we're sitting at $40,685, which is 21% of our goal. Our goal is $185,000. We have 79 walkers and 28 teams. So we are almost at half of the number of teams that we want, but we need teams with more walkers on them. What can the town do? You know, if you can say, hey, support coldest night of the year, if everybody can get in there and push it and make your photos known and say, we're doing this and we're behind the program, because you're right, we need to feed people in this town. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Councillor Strength.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, through you. Thank you, Beth, for your presentation. Thank you, Greg, for your presentation. I'm walking as an independent. I wasn't included in a team either, so I'll be out there and I'll promote you as best I can. I was wondering, you mentioned something about the Meals on Wheels. Have you ever considered or have you ever pondered partnerships with other organizations like Food for Kids, Meals on Wheels, those sort of groups to try and, come together to do what you do and do it that much better as a team or as a group.
Thank you, Erin. Yeah, we partner with a lot of groups. We have partnered with Food for Kids. We partner with the Sharing Place in Aurelia, with Mana in Bracebridge, with Table in Huntsville, with the, I can't remember the name of it, West Muskoka Food Bank, I think it is. Yeah, we regularly meet with all of the different food groups in the area in Muskoka and try and figure out how we can resolve all these issues. We're certainly working on it. One of the benefits that Food for Kids has is that they're a big corporation, so there are Food for Kids all over Ontario. And so they have a lot of support financially to hold big fundraisers, which really helps them. Yeah, I mean, we're working with as many people as we can to try and get things happening here.
Okay, I'm going to go over to Councillor Robinson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So I do have a team registered, and it's Walk with Warmth, and I invite anybody here to join, because I would love that. The other question, I'm not sure if we could add, can we change our name to the Town of Gravenhurst Walk with Warmth? Is that allowed? I wasn't sure. So that was what we decided to name it, and there's a few of us that have joined already, so if there's anybody else that would like to join, town staff or anybody here, you're more than welcome.
The more the merrier. And I can certainly, from my perspective, I can make your name change on the score sheet.
Okay.
If it's okayed.
Check, yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, we are the Town of Gravenhurst. Council is the Town of Gravenhurst.
Yep.
So if you want to put in a name, Town of Gravenhurst, what I think, we did have a staff member who spearheaded it in the past. People, people share their gifting in different times, different ways, things. Sometimes you work for one, nonprofit, and then next year you might have a life event that shifts your focus onto something else. So that staff person, not that they don't walk, because they still walk, but they just put their efforts into something that was meaningful for them at that time. So if there's councils that wants to put together, I mean, I say this all the time, you are the Town of Gravenhurst. So this is the Town of Gravenhurst. If you want to put a team in and call it that, that's fine. So, Councillor Varney.
Thank you, through you, Madam Mayor. My question is, there'll be people who, I'm just wondering if you have a breakdown of the people who realize that you must take some percentage off for the main coldest night of the year business that you have to pay. So do you have a breakdown of the people? Because I have done this in the past where I've made a donation, but directly to you, not through coldest night of the year for that, but directly to you, so that you don't have to take it. If I give $100, you get my $100. Do you have a breakdown on the number of people that do that? I mean, I think it's interesting for people to know that maybe you'll get more money that way too. But anyway, maybe, yeah, thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. I don't have a breakdown. I certainly know there are people who do that, and any money that comes into GAP is great. I mean, we always push to get a large amount through the coldest night of the year, but Penny is right. The overseeing organization does take a good percentage of the money that we make, and if we could do this fundraiser without using them, we would do it, because then we'd get 100% of the money. But right now, if we don't use them, we get 0% of the money. So yeah, I recognize that there are people who donate directly to GAP, and that's greatly appreciated as well. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else have any questions? All right, well, you'll be glad to know we did see, driving up in the blizzard today from Toronto, 2 coldest night of the year bulletin, massive billboards on our way. So the word is out there, and we look forward to to walking with you on give us a date?
Somebody keeps turning me off. It's Saturday, February 28th. The walk starts at, registration's at 4, the walk is at 5, and it's followed up by free pizza at inside Boston Pizza. It will be a great time. And to register, go to cnoi.org/Gravenhurst and sign up with the Town of Gravenhurst Walk with Warmth. Thank you very much. And can we get a picture when you have a break?
You know what, before we roll into the consent agenda, we'll just do it now, because I don't know how long, I don't want you to
Okay.
have to hang around. We'll take a 5-minute break,
Okay,
right
thank
now.
you very much.
Okay? Okay, so council, next we'll go to the consent agenda. It's moved by Councillor Johnston, second by Councillor Jorgensen. Be it resolved that the following consent agenda items be approved. Minutes, Community Grants Committee, June 23rd, 2025. Minutes, Municipal Heritage Committee, November 11th, 2025. Minutes, Accessibility Advisory Committee, November 20th, 2025. 2025 Council Attendance Report, Report 2025 Statement of Remuneration and Expenses for Members of Council and Appointed Committees. 6, Report Single Source Procurement of Firefighter Protective Clothing. And 7, Report Snowmobile Trail License Agreement. Okay, do we want to move anything to new business? Okay, seeing nothing. Then I'll ask for you to vote. Oh, it's my default to look that way. That's, anyway, sorry about that. That carries, thank you, Madam Clerk. Okay. So, moving right along to new business. Notice a motion from Councillor Hunter. Whereas Marvin Goldstein provided a deputation in 2025 requesting a refund of his building permit deposit initiating from a 2021 building permit, and whereas identified in his deputation the substantial amount of snow and ice accumulation during the final assessment period prevented a final sign-off, preventing the return of the building permit deposit. Therefore, be it resolved that administration be directed to bring back a report regarding the details of building permit number GH 2021-705 and the building permit deposit process to the February 10th, 2026 Committee of the Whole meeting. We have a seconder for that? Councillor Johnston? Okay. Questions or comments on the motion? Councillor Hunter, did you want to speak to it? Oh, I just cut you off, sorry. There you go.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you, I don't have anything to add. You all remember Dr. Goldstein was here last month requesting a reimbursement. And yeah, I would just note that we're just asking for a report to be brought back to the next council meeting. So, thank you.
Anybody else have any comments on this? Okay, well, I do. I think this is a pretty standard thing that we do. The time limits are in place. I'm just, if we're going to have a report on it, I'd like to know how many people this applies to and how many people we can expect to see lining up at the door looking for some money back because they haven't. So I would hope that we can include that in the report. I know Mr. Jones isn't here. I believe he's maybe watching, but I think that's an important part of the puzzle. Is this just a standard thing? And yes, maybe this fell through the cracks, but how many other people did fall through the cracks that may or may not, depending on, we always know there's two sides of an issue. So I think it's important to understand both sides of the issue. So I want to make sure that we understand the consequences of waiving these fees or giving these fees back. Okay, Councillor Morphy?
Thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, I totally agree. My question is, and I don't know if Mr. Jones isn't here to answer it, but you have your 3 years, your time runs up, he got a letter. Can he ask for an extension to the closing date, or when the 3 years is up, it's up, or maybe when the report comes back, we can address that. But I think he should have handled it at the time it ran out, not 2 years later. Thanks.
Councillor Johnston?
Thank you, Your Worship, and this time, through you, thank you. Didn't do that the first time. I support this motion because it strikes the right balance between good governance and equity. We have to have rules, and I agree with your comments, Your Worship. That's why the motion says that a report will be prepared before we make any decision. And so I'm looking for a report that, so council fully understands the facts, the permit history, and how our deposit process works. So I agree. I mean, we have to have rules, and we have to be very careful when we waive rules. So the report is why I'm in support of this motion, because I think it's necessary for, as you pointed out, Your Worship, people that might come forward similar with a request like that. I'd like to know what the process says, and I'm looking for that report. Thank you.
Okay, council, any other questions on this? Okay, so I'll call the question. All in favor? Okay, and that's carried. Thank you. Okay. It's moved by Councillor Johnston, second by Councillor Varney. Whereas council has in place an economic development strategic plan which provides strategic direction on available mechanisms to support the needs of local businesses within the broader Gravenhurst community. And whereas council received a report in October 2025 regarding the town's investment and programs supporting downtown business and directed administration to proceed with the development of a vacant building and land registry bylaw, modifications to the CIP to include a continuous year-round intake, conduct the official plan review with focus on strong business in key commercial areas, and update the zoning bylaw to focus on, among things, traditional retail and downtown commercial type uses. And whereas council recognizes the public dialogue regarding concerns of the downtown core and a further call to action, therefore be it resolved that administration be directed to provide regular updates on business retention attraction activities, particularly within the CIP area. Okay, Councillor Johnson, you'd like to speak to this?
Yes, Your Worship, thank you. I would like to speak to it briefly. The notice of motion just simply directs staff to continue to do what they're doing. But I wanted to comment on it because I was talking to, if I might mention his name, C.A.O. Lucas, about this. And to use his term, there was a lot of noise in social media, and I like that term, about, the downtown, and that the council and the town is doing nothing, which is simply not true at all. We, as the notice talks about, we did the vacant tax bylaw. We passed a bylaw to restrict what can be on the main street. We're doing other things. There is a problem. I mean, I'm quite frankly, I'm concerned about the number of buildings that have closed. I've been into each and every one of them and spoken to the owners about why. Some of them have nothing to do with Gravenhurst. I mean, it's just that they've decided, one, for example, I won't mention, two businesses, they're moving down east because that's where family is. But I am concerned about it, and that's why Director of Legislation, did I give you my strategy? No. Okay, I will. I developed a strategy for retention. I mean, in any municipality for the retail component, there's two issues. One is bringing in new business, which is primarily the focus of most municipal councils. But the other one, more importantly, I think, is business retention. I used to, when I was with the ministry, I used to say to municipal councils, it costs 1/3 of the money to retain existing business than it does to recruit new business, and we don't do enough of that. So I prepared not a policy or anything, just some information that I will give to the director a strategy for retention of business. But I just wanted to mention to the public that there are some problems on our downtown core, but council is very much engaged in the problem or the issue. We've done a number of things already. We're going to be doing more things to try and revitalize, or not try to, but to revitalize our downtown core. So I just wanted to make those comments, Your Worship, and thank you for that opportunity.
Okay, Councillor Barney.
Thank you, through you, Madam Mayor. Just to follow up with what Councillor Johnson said, the Chamber is definitely concerned about the Main Street as well, and we have had a meeting where in the near future we are going to invite businesses to a meeting to discuss how we can help get the BIA back on its feet again. It's really interesting how many businesses do not understand the ins and outs of a BIA. Even people who have been members of the BIA for years are surprised by some of the things that we've told them. So the Chamber is doing a really good job. There's 4 of us on this particular event meeting, and we will let you know the results of that meeting and following in the following council meeting, following the meeting. Thank you.
Okay. Councillor Jorgensen?
Thank you, Your Worship. Just want clarification from the mover, what the intention is for regular updates. Is that monthly, quarterly, or perhaps how administration would interpret regular? Because that's what the motion says.
Oh, I thought Mr. Lucas was going to take it. Okay. Councillor Johnston?
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll just be very brief. You're right. My point was simply going to be, to your point, I was going to leave that up to Mr. Lucas and the team. I have every faith in that. I didn't mean anything particularly by regular. The staff will determine what that is appropriate. So that was my only comment.
Okay. You can keep us regular? Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, so there is a question on the table or a motion on the table. And I'll have you vote, please. And that carries, thank you. Okay, so 2026 to 2030 multi-year accessibility plan, report number LAG 2026. It is moved by Councillor Varney, second by Councillor Strength. Be it resolved that report number LAG 2026-01 RE 2026 to 2030 multi-year accessibility plan be received for information, and that the 2026-2030 multi-year accessibility plan be appended as attachment A to the report. Appended as attachment A to the report be approved. Okay. Madam Clerk.
Thank you. I'm pleased to present this statutory report for Council's consideration. As part of the Accessibility for Ontarians with Disabilities Act, municipalities are required to have in place a 5-year, multi-year plan about accessibility needs and proposals for keeping up with accessibility needs and reducing barriers in your community every 5 years. Our current plan expired at the end of 2025, and therefore a new 5-year plan is put in place. The document you'll see is a strategy to implement, prevent, and remove accessibility barriers while maintaining compliance with the AODA. Now, as you recall, the AODA was initiated in 2005 with the goal of all of Ontario being accessible by 2025. In the early sections of the AODA, the first regulation that came into place was customer service, then the integrated accessibility standards, and the final standard was the built environment, which includes buildings, facilities, signage, public trails, parks, all that kind of stuff. Municipalities across Ontario since 2005 and have been actively working in their communities to be compliant with the legislation. And here we are at the end of it, end of that legislation's goal, but still more work is to be done so that these plans are still relevant. What you see within the document attached to the report is an outline of projects and priorities that have been identified through other Town of Gravenhurst strategic plans that have an accessibility component to it. So that would include the multi-year capital budget, the service delivery review, the Parks and Trails master plan, et cetera. All of those projects, accessibility is integrated as a foundation of all of the things that the town does because it's the good thing, right thing to do, as well as it's the legislated thing to do. So this plan that you see in front of you is really just a combination of all of those things that council have already seen across your desk in some sort of format put into a document. Adopting this report does not mean that these are the only accessibility projects you'll do. That's why you have the annual accessibility plan and your annual budget that's adopted and changed and grows as the accessibility needs change in communities. So that is my long-winded introduction and conclusion of your report in front of you.
Okay. Are there any questions on this? Councillor Morphy?
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you to the Clerk Thibault. I don't see anything on here. We had that conversation about railings at the arena, and you've identified splash pads and kayak launches and things like that. Are we dealing with that outside of this work plan? As you were just mentioning, you just said that didn't limit the projects listed here. Are we going to deal with that outside of this plan when it comes back or not?
Madam Clerk?
Sure. To the chair, to Councillor Morphy, what you see in front of you is council approved with a financial or adopted in some other strategic plan. I guess it doesn't limit you. So when the information comes back to the council table and you decide yay or nay, then you'll also have to decide a financial contribution to it, and then that will make up your annual accessibility report that you see every year in December. So this one is like a snapshot in time of what we have in the works officially through some adoption process of council already. And so, yes, more projects can come, projects can be removed, but what you see in front of you is a snapshot of today.
Councillor, are there any other questions? Okay, so I'll call the vote on that. Yeah, I did vote. And that carries, thank you. Okay.
There we go, thank you.
Great.
Adopted.
Okay. Okay, so it is moved by Councillor Morphy, second by Councillor Robinson. Be it resolved that the report number LEG 2026-02, RE Delegation of Authority, municipally significant. It's like I can't read without these glasses on my head. Sorry about that. Municipally significant events be received for information, and that the clerk be delegated authority for declaring events municipally significant. Are there any questions about this? Oh, Madam Clerk, you're going to talk to this. Please, go ahead.
Thanks. Happy to talk again about this particular delegation of authority recommendation for council to consider. Council will recall annually that the Director of Recreation, Arts and Cultures bring forward a report usually in March of the events happening within the town of Gravenhurst. Part of that report is an adoption of council to declare those particular events, which some are listed within the report, as municipally significant solely for the purpose of receiving a liquor license, depending on the type of event, the type of license they get, through the AGCO. The AGCO, Alcohol Gaming Commissioner of Ontario, requires for some of the special occasion permits to have that declaration. There is an option, and the AGCO definitely encourages the delegation of authority to be provided to a member of staff, usually the clerk, because the clerk is a statutory position that all municipalities are required to have, to be delegated to the clerk to declare that significant, which can help streamline permit process, and applicants don't have to wait until a further council meeting or processes to proceed with obtaining their liquor license through this designation. It became more aware to Gravenhurst of the sort of recommendation for council to delegate it at this time. As you will recall, last year we had a new event vendor come in place, and we were required to do an additional significant designation so they could proceed with their license, which was outside of our usual flows of events. So having a delegation in place to staff just would help these sort of businesses and events that sort of come up outside of our usual flow, and we do want to support these types of events coming. Again, the delegation and the declaration is strictly for a liquor licensing process. It does sound like a lawnmower, which would be great on January 20th. Unfortunately, that's not the case. Sorry, sidetracked. That's the purpose of the report. The checks and balances still will be in place, that the event meets insurance requirements, our event requirements, all of our usual processes. Just takes one step to allow the applicant to speed up their process with the AGCO a little bit easier. Thanks.
Okay, Councillor, are there any questions about this? Councillor Jorgensen?
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm totally in favor of this. I just want to recognize though that, you know, when it comes to council, it makes us aware of these events as well. So I'm just wondering if you're going to report at some point of here's the events that have been designated, because I know for myself, sometimes that's the first I hear of some of the new events and whatnot. Certainly the latest one that you're referring to, you know, we might not have known about it otherwise, so just wondering about that.
Through the chair to Councillor Jorgensen, in the report, we do recommend some sort of process and procedures to sort of mimic that checks and balances, so that, let's say, an applicant doesn't just call me out of the blue and say, can I have a designation, and I say, sure, here's a blanket check sort of thing. So if it is the desire of council, when building those internal procedures, we can include some sort of clause of notification to council, not necessarily a report to council on a council table, but there is other mechanisms of communicating with you on these types of things and other things. So if that is the desire of a council, it can be included in our administrative procedures.
Councillor Morphy?
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you, just a question for my own sake. When we use the term mayor, we understand that if she's not here, it's the deputy. If he's not here, it's the acting. When you say clerk, does that mean you have to be here 24/7, or does deputy clerk come into play? Is that implied? Thank you.
Through the chair to Council Morphy, yes, I will live here 24/7. Just kidding. The act is clerk/designate, and designate would be a deputy clerk who is appointed by bylaw, which formally we have two, the official deputy clerk as well as our CAO. So there is always a body around and ready to sign declarations for liquor licenses.
Okay, so council, you have a question before you? If you could please vote. And that carries. Thank you. Okay, it's moved by Counselor Karen, second by Counselor Hunter. Be it resolved that report number DV 2026-01, RE 198 Muskoka Road North, Scotiabank sign exemption be received for information, and that the sign bylaw exemption request for 198 Muskoka Road North, Scotiabank be approved. Director Halford?
Thank you very much, Your Worship. I think the report is pretty straightforward for this proposal. However, just to reiterate that the property already has two illuminated fascia signs, and they are going to be replacing those, as well as installing the internally illuminated signs, which is the reason for the variance request. Within the BIA area, as you'll recall, only externally illuminated signs are permitted. So in this case, given the nature of the sign, the design, the coloring, that type of thing, staff have made a recommendation that council could or should approve the amendment in this case. Although staff couldn't approve it, council can. So with that, I will open it up to questions, and I do have Manager Ford here if there's specific questions here that she can help answer.
Okay, any questions? All right, well, oh, Counselor Jorgensen, you squeaked one in there.
Yeah, sorry. Thank you, Your Worship. Through you, just I think there's a reference to other portions of the bylaw that apply. So I'm thinking of, dark sky provisions that they'll be turned off at a specific hour. I think that's one of them. Just want to confirm that.
Through Your Worship to the councillor, yes, they would have to comply with the other requirements of the bylaw. They've not asked for an exemption to those ones, so, yeah.
Okay. There's no other questions or comments, I'll ask for the vote. And that carries, thank you. Oh, no, it's Counselor Johnston. Oh. Okay, so it's moved by Counselor Morphy, second by Counselor Johnston. Be it resolved that report number DV 2026-02, RE sign bylaw exemption, Gravenhurst Against Poverty sign exemption be received for information, and that the sign bylaw exemption request for Gravenhurst Against Poverty be approved. Any questions or comments on that, or Director Halford?
Yeah, thank you very much, Your Worship. I just wanted to provide, to speak to the report first, and then I'm happy to answer any questions, and as well, Manager Ford is here. So just to give some background on this, and I know it seems like, or it may seem like a lot of talk about a relatively straightforward sign, but the devil is in the details with all things, and in this case, there are a lot of details that have led us here. So, late last year, in an event coordination meeting with town staff, GAP did advise that GAP was advised that any signage beyond which was already permitted through that event application and event report that the mayor mentioned earlier, anything beyond that was already permitted in there would require additional permits. So in that report, there were incidental signs and some directional signs that were addressed. So those were permitted, provided an exemption, and they're good to go. However, the group did come forward with the request for we'll call it a quasi banner downtown. And once we reviewed that application, it was clear that what they were asking to install would not only not meet the definition of any sign in our bylaw. So it's not a banner, it's not a billboard, it's kind of like a Frankensign. It doesn't meet any of the definitions of our bylaw. And not only that, it wouldn't be able to obtain a building permit. And it's staff's jobs to ensure that the bylaw is implemented objectively and consistently, no matter how worthy the cause, and I know council can appreciate that. The bylaw is in place to ensure that the town's goals and objectives are implemented, such as protecting health and safety by making sure that items that are installed in the downtown streetscape don't cause accident or harm to those using the area, as well as help ensure that the aesthetics of the community are protected or at least maintained. So staff met with GAP representatives on a couple of occasions to explain the issue with the advertising format that they were proposing, and provided a number of alternatives that could be supportable through suggestions such as where the banners could be installed. We have some pre-approved locations of where banners can be installed, or how the advertisement could be altered in order to make it eligible for a building permit. However, they have come forward and asked for an exemption, which is completely within their right and within your right to consider that. So I'd just like to reiterate that also, although council can provide an exemption to the sign bylaw, only the town building officials can determine whether a building permit can be issued or not, right? So the sign that may be permitted on site will need to be either constructed in a manner or designed in such a manner that it would be exempt from the requirement for a building permit, or meeting the building code requirements. So those are the two options. In this case, it's making that, the details of it would be something that staff would review at the time, but I just wanted to make it clear that there's two issues at play here. The advertising format that they've proposed not meeting any definition of a sign in our bylaw, and the building permit requirements or exemption there too. So with that, I will leave it there, and Manager Ford and I are here to answer any questions if you have them.
Okay, any questions? I've got one. Sorry, Councillor Jorgensen, maybe you'll beat me to it.
No, I was just going to ask, what are the specifics of the sign? And we briefly saw a picture of it, but has the sign been up before? And what is it? You say it's not a banner. I had always thought it was like one of those plastic banners, but is it a coroplast sign? Is it a?
So I'll start, Your Worship,
What is being proposed?
Yeah, I'll start, and Director, or Manager, you can have my job. Manager Ford can step in as well. So yes, there's been signs there before. They've never had permits. They've been installed without the benefit of a permit. In this case, they've come forward and asked for a permit, so this is great, a conversation to be having and to make sure that we can get this buttoned up so that in the future we're not having the same situations. So it has to do with how the sign is attached and what it's attached to. It needs to be structurally sound and not be, in municipal world, we're always trying to make sure we're protecting the public and making sure everything's safe and that, people don't shoot their eye out, that kind of stuff, right? So in this case, right? So we're just trying to make sure it's safe. In this case, the way that the banner is put together and attached, and it just doesn't meet the definition of what a banner is, because it's more of a attached to a fence and in a pre-approved location. Right, and it's, framed, and it's secure. Mm-hmm. So in this case, Manager Ford, can you speak to what the design of the proposal?
So the difficulty with determining what type of sign it is because it kind of meshes with a banner. However, it is in a wood frame that is then attached to wood posts that are then attached to a fence. None of that is compliant with the bylaw. And that's why we've left it up to council to make the decision as to whether they are permitted to have the exemption for a banner that would meet the definition of the bylaw, so to speak. The location down at the Kinsman Park has 2 posts that we have installed that is specific for a banner to be put up there. Gull Lake Park is the only other place that allows for a banner to be affixed to a fence. So that would be the permitted exemption, so to speak. Or we work with the planners to create a ground sign or a mobile sign. So there are options out there.
Mr. Lucas?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So I guess what administration was trying to get across is just I guess a caution that if council wishes to consider approval of the request, there's still checks and balances afterwards that may be problematic for it to be installed as submitted. If it does require a building permit, then the chief building official issues or doesn't issue those. So it's really just to, in which case, as the director indicated, there may need to be adjustments to what the proposal is, how it's affixed to things, that sort of thing. So I just wanted to caution that if council wished to approve the request, there's still checks and balances afterwards that we need to work with GAP on to make sure everything's on the up and up.
Before I go over to Councillor Strength, I have a question. So this is not a banner? This is like a hard fence with wood around it? So it's not, is the concern that it's not going to be affixed like strongly enough to withstand wind and it can flap around and injure somebody walking on the sidewalk? Is that like, what's the crux of the matter? Like, is that what we're concerned about as far as safety and things go? So I can understand, whoever has the answer.
Through your worship, the media itself is on banner type material. Around that banner type material, they have affixed that to, it appears to be maybe 1/4 inch wood pieces. So it's not structurally sound. If there was wind or anything like that, and then the posts that come down the side are wood framing as well. That's then affixed, I believe, with ties to the fence. So there is a concern with health and safety, and if there was, there has a potential for fail.
I see there's a lineup of people to talk about this, but I just want to say, can we just merely suggest that they grommet it, like they put some grommets in it and hang it like a banner? I mean, that's would be my suggestion. I think that's a pretty easy fix. Like, take the wood off the surrounding. If it was just a banner, we'd have no problem. Is that what we're talking about?
Correct. So that would be the potential, one of the options would be the exemption to the bylaw to permit for a banner properly affixed in that location.
Okay. Councillor Strength?
I have a lot of questions. Thank you, Madam Mayor. So just to follow up on that comment, it could be properly affixed to the fence at the downtown location that they want. Is that correct?
If that's what council
Oh, if that's what we
exempts.
approve. Okay. So my question is, if we approve this exemption, GAP still has to come back and get a building permit, which they would incur fees. Correct?
It would depend on the type of sign. If it was a structural sign that required it being affixed to the ground or a mobile sign, then yes. If it's a banner type sign, that doesn't require a building permit. It just requires it to be properly placed and affixed.
If we deny, can they take their existing sign and take it either to Gull Lake Park or Kinsman Park, as it stands right now?
The sign as it's constructed right now does not meet the bylaw, and it does not meet the Ontario Building Code for a structure. The banner inside the sign could be placed down at Kinsman Park, or it could be placed on the fence at Gull Lake Park.
Okay. Yeah. No.
Banners, in our bylaw, banners are not permitted in the downtown core.
But isn't that the exemption that they're
That would be
seeking?
the exemption that you would be providing, provided it's a banner that is what's
Providing
applied
they take it out of
for.
the frame.
Right.
Okay. So I'm going to go over to Counselor Varney.
Okay, thank you, through you, Madam Mayor. I don't understand this because they did have a banner originally when Brian White was in charge of Coldest Night of the Year, and they used a banner with grommets on that railing. So I don't know where this change has happened, where they framed that banner now, and they've got posts. I mean, that's crazy. I understand the reason why we don't have that. And if they understand, just get back to the banner and attach it with grommets to that fence, then they are fine, aren't they? No, still not fine. But I thought we just said that it's considered a banner and that we were voting on that. Well, that's what I'm saying. We have to vote on it. Okay.
Okay, so,
Yes.
okay, I'm going to go over to, before I go back to Counselor Strength, does anybody else want to chime in on this? Have you already spoken? Does anybody who hasn't spoken want to speak to it? So I'm going to go over to Counselor Strength.
So if thank you, Madam Mayor. If GAP is determined to have the sign downtown, can we stipulate in the approval that it can only be the sign with the grommets? No structural, no wooden structure surrounding it. Advice?
Director.
Mayor, through you to the counselor, yes, you can provide that, you could, in your exemption, you could advise that provided, like, that you provide an exemption for a banner as defined by the bylaw.
Counselor Jorgensen?
Thank you, Your Worship, through you. I just want to be clear that if it were just a banner, and it sounds like it's a banner with some kind of frame around it right now, but the banner could have already been installed at Kinsman Park? And that's at the lights there at Talisman, right? So good traffic flow there. So I don't understand why we're even considering this. But is the motion written to permit a banner? I'm sorry.
It's,
The exemption.
as I understand it, the motion is to permit their application, but their application, the sign that they are proposing doesn't fit within the sign bylaw anywhere, because a sign that has structure to it, which this does, requires a building permit. So if it didn't have the structure and was just flimsy, we would still need the exemption for the location which they want. So we can pass this, but what I think the manager or the director and the manager and the CAO are saying, we're saying their sign doesn't, they can't have the wood around it. Like, no matter what, we don't want to see them have the wood around it in the downtown core, because we see that as a hazard on the poles beside our sidewalk. Is that it? I've got it right. I got a tip on the nose from the bylaw manager. So we want to support GAP, but we don't agree with poles sticking out beside our sidewalks because it could interfere with snow clearing. It could interfere with a number of things. So if they can make it a banner, have at it. We've got the exemption in front of us. So I say that we pass it. They're probably watching. Maybe we could take the wood around it and just affix it to the fence with this exemption. Am I making that as clear as mud? Am I getting that right? Manager Ford?
Through the mayor, yes, that is correct. Yes, the banner would have to come out of the wood structure that's already there. The council would then approve the motion that the banner would be affixed to the fence with the grommets, and that would suffice.
Okay, so you've turned your light off. Counselor Jorgensen, did you want to speak to it? Oh, okay, so I'm going to go back to Counselor Jorgensen.
Yeah, I'm hearing the confusion too. So I'm not sure if the motion is exempt what has been proposed, or are we exempting a banner in the BIA, which is really the issue here? Or their other option still is to go ahead and put the banner at Kinsman Park or on the fence at Gull, but they do not want to do that. Is that?
Okay,
they
so
want
I
both.
would,
Okay.
sorry,
So-
Counselor Varney, if we're gonna, I just want to make sure everybody's talking through the mic.
So I mean, I personally, I just want to say, I'm not going to support an exemption for what they have proposed with the frame then, because it's just going to, it's out of our hands if the chief building officer does not say that it's structurally sound and meets the building code. So that's out of our hands from that. So we could, I mean, technically approve what they're asking for and still not go forward because they don't get a building permit for it. So I would want to make sure that I'm happy to approve the installation of a banner in their BIA location.
Well, sorry, I believe that the clerk is paying attention to the conversation and looking to amend the motion. Okay, so we'll see what that looks like before I go, well, I'll go over to Counselor Strength.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Through you, I would like to put forward an amendment to the motion to be more specific on what we are approving or denying, as in the banner, no form structure around the banner.
Okay, so I think that's what we're working on, Madam Clerk. Did you want a minute? We can take a quick break, or 30 seconds, so stay tuned. Well, I guess what I would say is, I understand, and it may not be well received, but I understand why we don't want those sticks, like posts uptown, because I understand that the sidewalks have to be cleared, and I understand that there's a potential for them to interfere with people walking and things like that. So, you know, I'm on the record as saying I agree with not having the structure portion. So I understand that it's a safety, we're talking about safety and sidewalk clearing here. Okay, so Madam Clerk? So be it resolved that the motion be amended to add, and finally, that the approval permits the installation of a banner sign as defined by the town sign bylaw on the subject lands identified in the application. And that's moved by Councillor Strength and second by Councillor Jorgensen. Okay? So I'll call a question on the amendment. Not yet. Okay. So I'll call the question on the amendment. Okay.
Oh, can someone press her contact button? That's, I forgot she was here. Councilor Murphy has a question.
Okay, Councillor Morphy?
Thank you, Worship. I was under the understanding that the banners aren't allowed as defined by our bylaw. And in that amendment, it says we're going to approve it based on the sign bylaw. So
The
definition. Okay. I will.
Okay. So,
Oh, no, never mind. No, it's still missing one vote. Okay.
oh, well, the no vote will go then. Okay. All right, well, that carries. And now we'll vote on the original motion unless there's anything to talk to it. Yep, well, yep, we'll just give you a second.
Okay, do you want the original motion with the amendment now back up on the screen so everyone?
Yes,
can see it
please.
there? Okay.
Okay, so, council, I did read the previous motion. And it's up on the screen if you need to read it again. All right, we can vote on that. Matt carries, thank you. There's another one for GAP, though.
Yeah, we're not there yet.
Oh. Oh, we're going to take a 10-minute recess. It's 4:46. See you back here at 4:56, please.
Well, it's his update, so he has to come back anyways. Yeah, get to that cover ring. It's the good stuff.
Kiwanuka, Kiwanuka,
Good choice, the
Ma'am
orange one?
Kiwanuka.
Just heart and love. Yeah.
Okay, are we ready to get started? Okay, welcome back, and thank you for the break. We'll move into updates from council. Councillor Johnston, Muskoka Watershed Council.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you, I'll be brief. As I mentioned before, IWM is now being looked after, or the district now taking the lead. And there's, most municipalities now have passed resolutions enabling their staff to engage in discussions about IWM. MWC has been asked to assist with the planning and presentations for a workshop that is going to be developed, or going to be presented on the 29th of January. I've been working with them on the material for that. We've now contracted with two outside experts, Sandra Cook of the Canadian Water Network, who authored the governance study for Muskoka Watershed Council, and Barbara Veal, who's with Conservation Halton. They've been speaking with a number of local audiences about IWM process. That we now have a contract with both of them, and they will be prioritizing next steps and assisting with a roadmap exercise. Those of us who are working on IWM, and certainly the team that I'm part of, the top priority, excuse me, the top priority for our own efforts is to gather non-government components of an IWM collaboration network. This task may become a central element in the contract we've set up with Barb and Sandra I just mentioned. And finally, we've discussed a number of other things that need to get done. However, there are no resources or volunteers available at the moment, but we're working on that. That's my report, Your Worship. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Moving along to Councillor Hunter for the public art at Town Hall.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you, I am pleased to share with council and the community that our latest art exhibit is now on display here at the municipal office, as you can see right here. On behalf of the Public Art Advisory Committee, I want to thank the Muskoka Discovery Center for sourcing the work that we are showing. Our latest display features paintings by Linda Godora. Ms. Godora is a retired teacher from Whitby. A lifelong connection to the Georgian Bay area inspires her paintings. She often captures the region's iconic shoreline and sky in her work. Her talent as an artist is also evident in the theater world. For the past 7 years, Ms. Godora has designed sets for the Aurelia-based Mariposa Arts Theater. Ms. Godora's work can be seen in our lobby during regular business hours, Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., and here in the council chambers when meetings are in session. We are happy to have Ms. Godora as part of our ongoing art display here at the municipal office. As council knows, the Art Showcase project launched last year and featured work by Ron Lee Marshall, Janice Feist, Norman Robert Catchpole, and Carolyn M. Boyd. Ms. Godora is our first featured artist for 2026. And any artists interested in participating in the showcase here at the municipal office should contact Wendy Fairbairn at Muskoka Discovery Center. And that is my update.
Okay, thank you. It's beautiful. Come and have a look. Does anybody have any questions? Okay. Moving along to Councillor Morphy, RE gap fee waiver. Moved by Counselor Morphy, second by Counselor Varney. Whereas annually, Gravenhurst Against Poverty hosts various fundraising initiatives, including the annual Coldest Night of the Year. And whereas the fees and charges bylaw sets rates for the rentals of municipal facilities, which includes a 75% reduction for not-for-profit organizations. And whereas Gravenhurst Against Poverty has requested the additional 25% fee be waived, therefore be it resolved that the application fees of $425.43, being the fees for sign permit, rental of Lions Pavilion, and sign exemption request, as identified in the annual fees and charges and service charges bylaw, be waived for this event. Councillor Morphy?
Thank you, Your Worship, through you. I won't belabor this. We've talked quite a bit about it, but this is basically, the $425 is better in GAP's hands than us collecting it for an event. If it didn't take place, we wouldn't have. So I'm just asking for your support to waive the fees. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Councillor Jorgensen?
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm just going to speak to the second whereas there, that to recognize that, you know, our policy is that we do have a 75% reduction for not-for-profit organizations. That applies to all not-for-profit organizations, and I feel that that's adequate, quite frankly. I would not support the motion because I think we have to treat everyone the same, and I don't frankly want to see a raft of the other organizations coming forward to get the other 25% waived as well.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions? Councillor Cairns?
Thank you, Worship, and through you. I have to support this. I mean, there are lots of organizations in our community that, do a lot for the people in our community, and GAP is one of the ones that has done, they've pulled through and done a lot of, taking care of a lot of people. And if we charge them the fee, then that's less money that they're able to contribute to taking care of people. And as we heard today in the presentation, there is a lot of people, and even more people now, that are in need. So I would have to support the motion being brought forward. I believe that, yes, maybe we'll have more organizations or people come forward, but hey, everybody's struggling right now, and if there's anything that we can do here at the town to help people out, I think it's important that we do so. So I will be supporting this full-heartedly.
Councillor Varney?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, I will be supporting this as well. I don't feel that we're going to get a lot of organizations coming forward, as Councillor Jorgensen stated. I think that everyone's very aware of what GAP does for this town and how much it's needed in this town. I think we're pretty lucky to have the number of volunteers who are helping feed the number of people in this town that need it and are supporting it. So I am definitely in support of this motion.
Okay, anybody else want to talk to it? I don't generally like to drag staff into the debate period, but I am going to just ask the question. I know that I understand that we already forfeit $70,000 in revenue because of the 75%. Is that accurate?
Through you, Madam Mayor. That would be a close guess. I don't know exact numbers. I'd have to actually go through and pull records, but that doesn't just encompass the 75% off that the not-for-profits get. That would be the 25% off that all the youth get as well. So it encompasses all of those fees that we already reduce for our users that are more vulnerable or more needing the lower rates.
Okay. Right, anybody else want to speak to this? Okay, I'll call the question. And that carries, thank you. It's my turn. Great. Okay, so I'm up with my mayor's report. And I'm going to keep it very brief, take a page from my colleague, Councillor Johnston. As people in this room know, we just raced up the highway from Roma, which was a fun-filled, very informative 3 days. And we will look forward to Councillor Hunter's report next month. But I had the time of my life because I was actually on the Roma stage for a plenary discussion on our Gravenhurst Health Hub, which I think is a fantastic news story. I got to talk about the challenges in recruitment and primary care, and that was really quite a thrill and an honor to be able to have a wide audience at Roma to discuss such a fantastic project that we are all proud to support and did support wholeheartedly around this table. So stay tuned for that. It was something, and it was, they say don't meet your heroes, but I got to meet Nam Kiwanaku, and she was as lovely as she seems on TVO. So it was great. And then we also want to mention, as we heard earlier, that the Coldest Night of the Year walk is coming up on February 28th. We also have Winter Carnival, which is coming up, Family Day weekend. So we look forward to that. That's going to be great. And I'm going to call it like I said, I was a bit frazzled when I got here because we know that the highway was a little questionable, and I'm not sure what's happening with it now, but I've heard maybe, is it closed, or do we know? Anyway, I don't know. Anyway, drive safe. If you have to head south, north, or south, just be careful. And with that, I will call for a motion to adjourn. Okay, all in favor, please vote. Mover, Councillor Varney, Councillor Robinson. And that carries, thank you. Oh no, sorry, I did miss something on my, I'm gonna not follow the rules for a minute. I know my update is over and we're adjourned, but I'm going to say that we did take a photo, so watch for our social media for Michaela, who is the winner of the Gravenhurst Winter Carnival button design. So we presented her with a plaque earlier, and we want to thank her for taking the time to design a concept for this year's budget. She is a button. The glasses aren't helping. We have a budding artist, so it's always nice to see young people exploring the arts, and we're always proud of that button. So it's a really fun thing that we do. So thank you for that. And we will see you at the event wearing the button. And with that, we will roll right into council. Be it resolved that the council agenda as presented on January 20th, 2026 be approved as circulated. It is moved by Councillor Karen, second by Councillor Hunter. Please vote. It is carried. Thank you. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest on the council agenda? Seeing none, it is moved by Counselor Johnston, second by Counselor Jorgensen. Be it resolved that the Special Council 2026 budget meetings be adopted as circulated. All in favor? Please vote. Oh. It is moved. Oops, carried. It is moved by Counselor Morphy, second by Counselor Robinson. Be it resolved that the council minutes from December 16th, 2025 be adopted as circulated. All in favor? That carries. Thank you. And it is moved by Counselor Strength and second by Counselor Varney. Be it resolved that the Committee of the Whole minutes from December 16, 2025 be adopted as circulated. All in favor, please vote. And it is moved by Counselor Karen, second by Counselor Hunter. Be it resolved that bylaw number 2026-01, that's a fresh start, to confirm the council meeting held on January 20th, 2026 be passed. All in favor? And that carries. Thank you. And motion to adjourn, Counselor Johnston and Counselor Varney. All in favor? And that carries. Thanks very much, everyone.